Judge orders disabled veteran to stand during sentencing. The next moment, the court breaks into tears. Judge orders disabled veteran to stand during sentencing. The next moment, the court breaks into tears. The sharp crack of the gavel echoed throughout courtroom 7 as Judge Brooks demanded, "Sergeant Chin will stand before this court." No one expected what happened next, a moment that would shake the foundations of justice itself and remind an entire nation what it truly means to stand up for something. Courtroom 7 of the Riverside County Courthouse was a study in faded grandeur. The once gleaming oak paneling was now dulled by time, and the American flag next to the judge's bench hung limp and covered in dust. In the stale air, the harsh, fluorescent lighting cast unflattering shadows across the faces of those present, highlighting worry lines and tired eyes. The room smelled of lemon-scented cleaner, barely masking decades of anxiety and despair. In the dock sat 34-year-old Sergeant David Kinn. His weathered face was a map of experiences most civilians couldn't fathom. His right leg, or what remained of it, was carefully hidden beneath his ironed khakis, while his left hand occasionally trembled. An invisible reminder of the improvised explosive device, or IED, that had changed his life forever during his third tour of duty in Iraq. His wheelchair, a military-grade model that had become an extension of himself, was awkwardly positioned next to the defense table as if the courtroom itself hadn't been designed with someone like him in mind. Before the war, David had been a high school physics teacher in this same county, known for staying late to help struggling students and for coaching the wrestling team to its first state championship. His students had been the ones who cheered him the loudest when he enlisted after 9/11, driven by a sense of duty instilled in him by his father, a Vietnam veteran. He had seen the photograph of his class seeing him off, 30 teenagers holding handmade signs. It still sat on his nightstand, even though most of those students had already graduated from college. Despite losing a leg and suffering a traumatic brain injury, David possessed remarkable resilience. He never complained about his condition. Instead, he channeled his energy into helping other veterans navigate the labyrinthine system of the Department of Veterans Affairs. You see, his small apartment had become an unofficial headquarters for veterans seeking help with paperwork, appeals, and sometimes just a sympathetic ear from someone who truly understood. The irony of today's hearing was not lost on anyone familiar with David's case. He was facing contempt charges for missing 3 court appearances related to a minor traffic violation, an infraction that occurred when he had to swerve his manually controlled vehicle to avoid a texting driver. The court had repeatedly scheduled hearings at the downtown courthouse, which was notoriously inaccessible by public transportation for someone with David's mobility challenges. His requests for accommodations or rescheduling had been routinely denied by the court clerk, who cited procedural regulations with bureaucratic indifference. Presiding over the case was Judge Elena Brooks, whose reputation for strict adherence to court protocol preceded her. At 58, she had spent 2 decades on the bench, building a reputation as a law and order judge who showed little patience for excuses. Her own father had been a career military officer, though she rarely spoke of him or her upbringing on the various military bases where she grew up. Some courtroom veterans whispered that this was precisely why she seemed particularly harsh on military defendants, as if determined to prove she showed no favoritism. When the bailiff called the courtroom to order, the tension was palpable. This was no longer just about a missed court date. For everyone watching, it had become something much more significant, a testament to how the system treated those who had sacrificed everything for it. Case number 2023, CR7842, State versus David King in the contempt of court matter, the clerk announced, her voice echoing in the now silent courtroom. La jueza Brooks miró por encima de sus gafas de lectura, examinando el expediente ante ella con los labios fruncidos. Señor King, esta es la 4ª vez que este asunto se presenta ante este tribunal. Usted ha fallado repetidamente en comparecer según lo ordenado. El abogado de oficio de David, Marcus Washington, un joven abogado con solo 3 años de experiencia, se levantó rápidamente. Su señoría, como hemos documentado en nuestros archivos, la ausencia del sargento King se debió a «puedo hablar por mí mismo», interrumpió David, colocando suavemente una mano firme sobre el brazo de Marcus. El joven abogado pareció inseguro. Bat asintió y se sentó. «Su señoría», comenzó David, su voz con la tranquila autoridad de alguien acostumbrado a ser escuchado. «He presentado documentación que explica que la ruta del autobús a este juzgado fue cambiada el año pasado. La parada más cercana ahora está a 8 cuadras de distancia, sin un camino accesible para una silla de ruedas. Solicité una comparecencia por teleconferencia o un traslado al juzgado del lado oeste que tiene». La jueza Brooks lo interrumpió con un gesto de la mano. «Señor King, los procedimientos judiciales no son opciones a la carta de las que pueda seleccionar a su conveniencia. La ley se aplica por igual a todos». Un murmullo recorrió la sala. En la galería, un anciano con una gorra de veterano de la Guerra de Corea negó con la cabeza invisible desaprobación. «Con el debido respeto, su señoría», continuó David, «no estoy pidiendo un trato especial, estoy pidiendo igualdad de acceso a la justicia, la ley de estadounidenses con discapacidades». «Señor King», interrumpió de nuevo la jueza Brooks, su voz adquiriendo un tono áspero. «Este tribunal está bien consciente de los estatutos federales. Lo que este tribunal no tolerará es ser sermoneado sobre la ley por un acusado». Ella barajó los papeles ante ella. «El expediente muestra que usted recibió la notificación adecuada para cada audiencia. Su falta de comparecencia constituye desacato, independientemente de sus excusas». Marcus Washington se levantó de nuevo. «Su señoría, mi cliente es un veterano de combate condecorado que sufrió sus heridas al servicio de este país. Seguramente el tribunal puede mostrar cierta flexibilidad en señor Washington», dijo la jueza Brooks bruscamente. «El servicio militar de su cliente, aunque encomiable, no lo coloca por encima de la ley. De hecho, como alguien que prestó juramento para defender a este país, debería entender mejor que la mayoría la importancia de respetar la autoridad legal». La sala del tribunal quedó en silencio. El rostro de David permaneció impasible, aunque los más cercanos a él podían ver cómo se tensaba el músculo de su mandíbula. La jueza Brooks se enderezó la toga y miró directamente a David. «Antes de pronunciar sentencia en este asunto, el acusado se levantará y se enfrentará a este tribunal». Marcus inmediatamente comenzó a protestar. «Su señoría, mi cliente es físicamente incapaz de...» «El acusado se pondrá de pie», repitió la jueza Brooks, su voz como el acero. «Esta es mi sala de tribunal, señor Washington, y en mi sala de tribunal, los acusados muestran el debido respeto poniéndose de pie para recibir su sentencia». David miró a la jueza encontrando su mirada directamente. «Su señoría, me pondría de pie si pudiera. Tengo una pierna ortopédica, pero debido al daño nervioso, solo puedo usarla por periodos limitados. Hoy no es un buen día». Algo parpadeó en el rostro de la jueza Brooks. ¿Irritación quizás o incredulidad? «Señor King, no veo personal médico en esta sala diciéndome que usted no puede ponerse de pie. Lo que sí veo es a un acusado intentando obtener simpatía a través de su condición. Este tribunal no será manipulado, se pondrá de pie o será declarado en desacato». Un silencio atónito volvió a caer sobre la sala. Incluso la taquígrafa judicial hizo una pausa, sus dedos flotando sobre su máquina de estenotipia. David miró a Marcus, quien parecía completamente indefenso. Luego, de vuelta a la jueza con un asentimiento resignado, agarró los reposabrazos de su silla de ruedas y comenzó el laborioso proceso de ponerse de pie. El rostro de David se contorsionó por el esfuerzo mientras se impulsaba hacia arriba, su pierna buena temblando bajo el peso repentino. Sus nudillos se pusieron blancos mientras se agarraba al borde de la mesa de la defensa para apoyarse. El sudor perlaba su frente a pesar del frío de la sala. Por un momento, un breve y esperanzador momento, estuvo erguido, balanceándose ligeramente, pero de pie. Un destello de triunfo cruzó su rostro mientras se enfrentaba a la jueza Brooks con toda la dignidad que pudo reunir. Then came the tremor. Anyone familiar with nerve damage would have recognized the warning sign. The slight spasm that ran through his body, starting in his damaged leg and traveling upward. David's face registered alarm, then resignation as he felt himself losing. Balance. I can't, he began, but it was too late. David collapsed, his prosthetic leg giving way beneath him. He fell hard, his shoulder hitting the edge of the defense table before hitting the floor. A collective gasp arose from the spectators as Marcus rushed to his aid. Your Honor, please, Marcus pleaded, kneeling beside his client. But it wasn't the young lawyer's words that captured the courtroom's attention. It was David himself. Despite the pain evident on his face, despite Eicher's humiliation on the cold courtroom floor, the veteran tried once more to stand. Stay down, David, Marcus urged quietly. Don't do this to yourself.